Hey, heck of a ball game if you're a spectator. It's hellacious if you're a head coach. To go through the how many ups and downs in the course of momentum swings and plays by them, plays by us. A game that if we'd just been a little bit better, we might could have got under control and cruised in. Good Lord didn't see it that way, and it didn't happen that way, and we had to totally exert everything we had to win the game, and probably a tad of luck thrown in too. But there's one thing. Our kids, as soon as South scored, it started echoing up and down the sideline. We practice this every day. We can do this. And my wife was sitting in the corner trying to come on the field because we were ahead with my granddaughter, she's probably the most confident of all of us. She said, "Let's go back up here after South scored. Let's go back up here, Caroline." And Caroline said, "No, Mimi, they got 48 seconds." So somebody believed, didn't he? But and obviously we had several guys on offense that believed, and coaches. So we got it done, and against what, in my opinion, and I've stated a bunch of times about South Alabama's evolution as a program, and they're as good as anybody in our conference. That's my humble estimation. I think they'll prove it out. Hard fought, very physical game, and we are very happy to chalk up in the win column, and probably very fortunate too. Questions?
Coach, with 2.5 minutes left, you guys were winning that game by a score, yet you were still throwing the ball. Why not try and run out the clock?
With 2.5 minutes, you're going to have to help me with that. When did we are a passing football team, and when they line up and they got 8 guys standing right there where they can spit on that football, most of the time it's going to be hard to run it. And they're pretty good. I don't remember the exact 2.5 minutes, and we had the ball, right? Was that well, y'all going to get Kenny up here in a minute, aren't you? Y'all can drill him about that.
But just the fact that maybe they could have used their timeouts and you could have left them with nothing, and
Yeah.
the clock could have gone down to like 30 seconds.
There's a lot of good coaches in this world, especially those that ain't coaching. And I don't remember exactly how it went down. You're probably dead on it, right? But it wouldn't have probably mattered much, because what happened with South was a huge play there. That was the time before, though, I think. I can't remember. But good question. I don't have a good answer, so next.
You got Georgia State on the road this weekend. Obviously, Georgia State's struggling.
Excuse me. Obviously, if you run the ball, you can burn more clock and make people call timeouts. You're right. What happened in my mind and Kenny's mind at that time, I don't have good remembrance. Go ahead.
Sorry. You got Georgia State on the road. Obviously, Georgia State not having the best of seasons so far. Is there a fear of the team overlooking this game, but due to their level of play, Georgia State's level of play?
Well, I tell you what, I've watched enough tape this morning on Georgia State to know that they're not a blank. And, I know Trent Miles, and I know he's been around some pretty good places and with some pretty good people across his career, and he'll – I look at people running and flying around on defense, tackling well, and on offense they got people that can score the ball. And so, I think you can call it whatever kind of game you want to call it, but it's a conference game on the road to me. And I hope that our players don't think it's anything but that. We're playing in a place that should be a lot of fun for our kids to go and see and visit and have the opportunity to play in the Georgia Dome. And but those guys over at Georgia State, I know they hadn't won a game, but if you saw them on tape, you wouldn't think that they were a winless team. personnel-wise. Yes,
I
sir.
know how you talked about South Alabama, becoming a program. You feel Georgia State's going to be the same type of situation?
Well, knowing Trent Miles and his reputation and knowing the recruiting availability within 30 minutes any direction, he's gonna be able to get some good players, and I'm not sure the timeline or anything like that, but I would say he's gonna have some availability of good football players close to Georgia State. To me, the Georgia Dome's the selling point. I've heard people say they need to get out of the Georgia Dome, and go campus facility and all that kind of stuff. But hey, man, it wouldn't bother me to play in the Georgia Dome every week. It's a pretty consistent environment. So, I really think they'll get it done. And I think Trent will get it done because just knowing and meeting and get to know the guy and considering his reputation and where he's been.
Statistically, you guys have the best offense in the Sun Belt, but also statistically, you guys have the worst defense in the Sun
Right.
Belt.
Right.
So what do you need to shore up on the defensive side of the ball?
Well, we have. I'd say we got to defend the pass a little better. We got to defend the run a little better. We need to get more turnovers. We got to tackle across the board better. We got to tackle certainly in the secondary better, especially at corner. And so there's work to do. There's plenty of work to do. And this college football thing is changed, folks. If you ain't noticed, it's changed a lot. And whereas 300 yards a game offensively, either gained by you or given up by you, was a tremendous amount years ago. And hey man, you had a bad day if you didn't get with 300 now, more than likely, and you probably got beat. So there's a lot of offensive firepower, a lot of throwing and catching. It stems from a lot of things. The rules help offense. The rules hurt defense. 7-on-7 all over the world. 7-on-7. They're throwing and catching 12 months out of 12 months. A lot of things going on. Back shoulder fade. There's all kinds of things that you can think of that favor the passing game. And then you get out there and you're trying to defend the pass, and you ain't got enough, really, when and still defend the quarterback run, which quarterback draw gets a lot of people. And so I thought, there's a lot of things different in college football. Our defense, in the room, they know that we ain't good enough statistically. And if we were a lot better statistically, we might be 2 wins better on the record. But I know what they're teaching, and I know the regulatory organizations are not helping defensive football very much, and maybe rightfully so. I'm not sure, but these a lot of rules help the offensive output, and I think hurt the defensive output.
During that stretch of road losses, some of your players talked about how it was brutal mentally, but to come home, get that huge win, dramatic win, and then now you're back on the road. What's the shift in momentum, I guess, with the players, and then what are you hoping as you go into this game? A big opportunity to get that next road, that first road win.
Yeah, first road win, correct. And the trip within itself is not a difficult trip. It's 3 hours maybe on the bus, and which on the interstate, and hopefully I'm hoping we'll get to drive into the Georgia Dome and let the kids see the inside of the Georgia Dome on Friday, and then go to the hotel, and then heck, I don't even know what time the game. 3 o'clock, 2:30 kick, Central Eastern.
3:30 Eastern.
3:30 Eastern. Okay. All right. But the road, I think the thing that really, if you go like to Ark State, which is the hardest trip in the league, I'd say ULL's second. I'm not talking about, both of them have good teams. I'm talking about distance and having to bus. And you know, I understand busing to Jonesboro. You know, I've done it 100 different ways. I called all over Arkansas this year to try to find an airport we could fly a charter into that was closer than Memphis. Not one. And you know, I've done it this way. I've taken a team up on Thursday night, arrive late, sleep in the next morning, start your game day thing from being in the area late the night before on a Friday night on a Thursday night instead of a Friday. I've done it that 2 or 3 different times to 2 or 3 different places. We used to play over there in Shreveport or close to Shreveport, Alexandria. We'd do that some, and we've done it to other places too. Really, the 2 places we ought to fly in our league and we don't are ULM and ULL because there's an airport 10 minutes from the stadium. And so, neither here nor there. Road is always tough, especially when you stack them together. And we started off with the hardest one, and we bussed to the second one, and then we flew to the third one. And on all 3 ends of the trips, we found good football teams, and they were home field advantage. And of course, we had basically our officials in all 3 games. Not that that's any great recommendation, but we had our guys, and we negotiate them into the contract on, hey, we'll come to your place, and you come back, then we'll use our officials at your place, your officials at our place. That's sort of the way the thing. And if it's a guarantee game, we'll say sometimes like, you give us this amount of money, and let us bring our officials. Then so we negotiate them in so our officials get more work than just every so often, you know, I mean, for a conference game.
But what would it mean for the team to be able to pick up that first road win? I mean, obviously conference boost.
Well, I mean, number one, it puts you, 4-3? Number one, it puts you another win closer to 6. Number 2, it puts you 2-1 in the league. I mean, number 3, it might be. I'm not counting very well, but just to going somewhere on foreign soil and being able to win, and you know, proves out our procedures on our trip. It proves out we're man enough or we're resilient enough to travel and go through the 24-hour process leading into a college football game and win, no matter where it is.